Greetings, my name is Yirser Ra Hotep, and we are going to begin with a Kemetic Yoga practice. What I would like to say to start off with is that the term Kemetic Yoga is an ancient, the word Kemetic Yoga is a phrase that I coined to describe the specific system of Kemetic Yoga or ancient Egyptian African yoga that was developed by my teacher, Dr. Yirser Ra Hotep, and myself in the mid-1970s. Okay, so prior to that, there was no conception of the idea that there was yoga that was being practiced in ancient Egypt, at least not amongst the mainstream public in the United States. And initially, we used the term Egyptian yoga, but about 20 years later, somebody wrote a book called Egyptian Yoga that wasn't the same as the yoga that we were teaching. So then I changed the name to Kemetic Yoga in order to differentiate, other aspects or other people's interpretation of yoga that comes from ancient Egypt. Okay, so Kemetic Yoga refers specifically to the style of ancient Kemetic, ancient African yoga that was created by Dr. Yirser Ra Hotep and Yirser Ra Hotep in the mid-1970s. Okay, and so that's what we're going to do. Just like you have many forms of yoga, like you have Ashtanga yoga, Iyengar yoga, Bikram yoga, Kundalini yoga. They all have their specific principles that they operate from. And so Kemetic Yoga is no different. We have our own specific principles from which we are operating. And so the principles of Kemetic Yoga is number one, the philosophical foundation is the philosophy of Ma'at. The word Ma'at means that the nature of the universe is one of balance, harmony, justice, reciprocity, and order. Okay, and so we as individuals who are practicing ancient Kemetic yoga, who are practicing ancient Kemetic principles, we strive to live our lives in harmony with these fundamental ideas and to try to emulate those things in the way that we behave, in the way that we think, in the way that we interact with ourselves, and the way that we interact with each other, the way we interact with nature, and the way we interact with the universe. So, we operate from that philosophical conception. We also have a conception of ancient Kemetic symbols and ancient Kemetic spirituality. One thing that people do is that they look at ancient Kemetic images, and you might see a person with the head of an animal or a person with the body of an animal and the head of a person, right? And so people often confuse this concept with the idea that one represents the higher self and one represents the lower self. In Kemetic Yoga, we do not make that type of interpretation because we do not believe that our ancestors in ancient Africa believed in this idea of a higher self versus a lower self, that there was no type of psychological or spiritual or moral conflict within a person that you can describe as higher self versus lower self. And so in Kemetic Yoga, we say that there is a misinterpretation of this idea of a higher self versus a lower self. And so we say that we have a self, and that the self is one where we have different aspects to our personality. We have different aspects to our character. We have different aspects to our consciousness. But there is no competing factions that we can call the higher self and the lower self. So another way of saying that is the idea of a animal self versus the human self. So when you see the Sphinx, right, you see the body of an animal, a lion, with the head of a person. And so people have often confused that image with the idea that the human head is the higher self or the human self, and the animal body is the lower animal nature. But that is not correct, because the name for the Sphinx is Heru Im Akit. It does not mean an animal self. What it means is that Heru Im Akit means that Heru is looking to the east at the horizon where the sun is rising up in the constellation of Leo. Okay? And so this has astronomical and astrological significance. It has nothing to do with this kind of Western, modern idea of a higher self versus a lower self. You also see images where you will see a person with the head of an animal and the body of a human. So that by nature cannot mean a animal self is the animal is the higher self, because when you see Tahuti, he has the head of a bird, he has the head of an ibis bird, and he has the body of a human. So it doesn't mean that he has the head of a bird or he's bird-brained. It has different spiritual significance. So when we see Tahuti, who represents knowledge, he represents wisdom, he represents learning, it has nothing to do with, there is no reference in any text that talks about, any higher self and lower self, or animal self and human self, or bird self and a human self. It really doesn't make any sense. So we try to differentiate our philosophical foundation in Kemetic Yoga from these other ideas, which I think are faulty ideas and not really well thought out. The other thing with Kemetic Yoga is that we actually do movements and postures that are seen exactly the way they are on the walls of the temples of ancient Egypt. And we also do various sequences and series of poses that are uniquely developed, that were developed, by my teacher, Dr. Eza P, and by myself, to be part of this pantheon of practices that we do in Kemetic Yoga. So Kemetic Yoga is very specific. We use a technique called Yoga Skills Method in our practice. Yoga Skills Method encompasses the idea that what you learn and what you train yourself in terms of your mind and your body while you are on the mat, are skills that you want to transfer into your everyday life, into your everyday existence. Yoga Skills Method also entails the idea that there is specific philosophy and methodology of our practice. So we employ a concept which is called Rule of 4 breathing. That means that in order to develop mindfulness, we divide each breath into 4 parts: the inhalation, the exhalation, the inhalation, the pause after the inhalation, the exhalation, and then the pause after the exhalation. That is 4. Okay? And so as we breathe in with every movement and every sequence and every section within the movement, every step or stage within the process of achieving the movement, we are coordinating each one of those with the inhalation or an exhalation, and we are pausing between each inhalation and each exhalation. Okay? And so in that way, we go slowly, we go methodically, and we also go geometrically. And so we use the term geometric progression because we're going through each movement, each posture in a geometric manner that is coordinated and aligned with how the body is structured. Okay? And so we're looking at the body in a holistic way, but we're also looking at the different components of the body, and we're trying to integrate them back together. So we have an Asarian conception of what we are doing. We have an Asari conception of the body, because in the Asarian story, the main character, the main divine entity of ancient Kemetic mythology and spiritual science, his name was Asar. His body, and Asar was a person who gave civilization to the ancient Egyptians. So that means that he descended from wherever he was in the universe, came to the earth, came to the land, and he taught the people the arts and the sciences of civilization, agriculture, animal husbandry, how to build edifices, how to build buildings, and so on and so forth. And in alignment with other divine entities, they created civilization. And so these divine personages, they were called the Neteru, because they were aspects of the one Neter, the creator, that from which everything comes. So they were divisions or aspects or manifestations of specific powers and specific attributes that are part of the whole. And so in the story of Asar, his body was cut into 14 pieces. And so the task that was left was for his body to be reassembled and for him to come back to become reborn again. And as he became reborn, he was reborn with a different consciousness. He was of a higher spiritual consciousness, and he maintained his connection to the spiritual world where he had traveled to after he became deceased. And even though he came back to the earth, into the physical reality in the physical realm, physically with his body, his consciousness still remained in the spiritual realm. So he was what you would call in the world, but not of the world. He had achieved a state of consciousness where he was not being programmed or conditioned by the physical reality within which he found himself, but he was actually connected to the spirit world, even though he was physically in the physical world. And so when we practice yoga, when we practice Kemetic Yoga, our attempt is to work the body, to reassemble the body, to reattach all the different disparate elements of the body and of the mind, so that we can get everything operating and working as one complete unit, because there is a connection between the physical body, and there was a connection between the mind. There was connection to the spirit and to the soul. What connects all of these different entities or different aspects of the self together is the breath. Okay, and we use the term shu, SHU, to represent the idea of the breath. Okay, and so the breath is simply what we are living in. We are living in a medium of air. Just like fish live in a medium of water. Okay, and we exist in air, but we never pay attention to the fact that we exist in this air medium. Okay, and so we pay attention to food, we pay attention to things to drink, and we feel as if we need food and we need drink in order to survive, in order to live. But when you think about it, you can only go for 5 minutes without air, without shu, and then you will become deceased. You can go for weeks or even months without food, and you will still be alive. You can go for an extended period of time without water, and you can still be alive. Even though I don't recommend it, but it's still possible. So air, shu, breath, life, the life force which is in the air is the most important thing, the most important aspect of what we need to have in order to live. And so we use shu. So we use the breath to connect all the different disparate aspects of our being together into one. And so the foundation of our practice is breathing. Okay, I see people teaching yoga who never even say the word breathe in or breathe out, who never even say the word inhale or exhale. This is not yoga. Yoga is the use and the movement of breath and life force. In ancient Kemet, we use the word sekum. Sekum means the energy and the life force. So within shu, within the overall atmosphere that surrounds us, the medium that we are enveloped in, and that surrounds the entire earth and protects the earth, right, from ultraviolet rays and different things like that, if you look at it from a scientific perspective, but contained within the atmosphere, but contained within the air is a spirit element, an energetic element, which is even more refined than air itself. And that is what we call sekum. Sekum is that life force. Okay? Sekum is that energy that moves and circulates through us, that gives us the power to be alive. Okay? And so that's what we're working with when we're working with Kemetic Yoga. And so these are ideas that we conceived and formulated, going on 50 years ago, in order to give a specific definition to what we mean when we say Kemetic Yoga. And just like other forms of yoga, you can't just add stuff and take in stuff and just switch up stuff, because they are systems. And so you have a particular fidelity to the system. And so a person who practices Iyengar yoga is not going to mix in Kundalini yoga and say, oh, it's, I do that because that's what I want to do. That's what I feel like. Okay. So people have respect and they have fidelity for the system of yoga that they practice, and for the lineage of yoga that they practice. So they don't change it, they don't switch it up. They try to learn it and practice it and teach it from the perspective of which it was designed. Okay, so with that said, we will begin our practice of Kemetic Yoga. The first thing that we do is that we work on breathing. We work on the movement of breath through the respiratory system. Okay, and so breath works like this. Within our body, this is standard yogic knowledge. Within our body, we have a energy center that exists 3 inches below the navel and in the lower, from the front of the body to the lower back. So this area here is like a reservoir that contains the fetal breath, which is the breath or the energy or the life force that we were born with. Okay? So this life force became active at a certain stage of fetal or embryonic development. And so once that life force became activated, then that's when we truly became a human being, right? And so that life force needs to stay active, it needs to stay awake in order for us to continue to live. When this life force is extinguished, our body becomes a corpse, and it has nothing left in it except for carbon and the elements of the earth from which we come. We eat food. The food contains the elements of the earth, and that's what creates our body. But we get sunshine, which we absorb, and because we have melanin, we can absorb it much more efficiently and much more deeply and richly. And because we have the breath and we have our large nostrils, we are able to pull in more of the breath and more energy from the atmosphere, from the shu and the secum contained within the air. Okay, and so we are using this in order to create our bodies, and we are creating our consciousness. Okay, so we start with the breath, and we know that the fundamental element of our practice is the inhalation and the exhalation, and along with the inhalation and the exhalation, it is the movement of the energy through the energy channels of the body. Eventually, as we become proficient practitioners, we are able to use our minds to simply send the energy into wherever part of the body that we want to send it. We are also able to send the energy across time and space, because energy is not bounded by the same rules of time and space. They are not bounded by the same rules of the temporal reality. And so so you hear about things like Reiki and pranic healing, distance healing, where people are able to send energy and life force across many miles so that another person can receive it. Okay, we hear things about telepathy, where thoughts can be sent from one mind to another mind, where we pick up things. You hear about clairvoyance. You hear about precognition, where you can know something before it happens, right? You know something in advance before it occurs on the physical plane, or at least on our perception of the physical plane. And so these are all attributes. These are all abilities that one gains through their practice of yoga. And so you can imagine the high level of these abilities that our ancestors in ancient Egypt attained that allowed them to build the greatest civilization in the greatest known civilization. I'll put it like that, in the history of mankind, a civilization that nobody else has been able to duplicate, since the beginning, it's for the last 6,000 years. Nobody's been able to duplicate what our ancestors in ancient Egypt did. And not just in ancient Egypt, but in the ancient Nile Valley, not just the country of Egypt, because we had to understand that the Nile Valley extends all the way from Uganda into Ethiopia, into Sudan, and other countries, right? And so we're talking about a civilization of the Nile Valley, and also a civilization of the pre-desertification of the Sahara area. Before the Sahara Desert became a desert, we had civilization there, okay? High levels of civilization. So when people are looking for Atlantis, maybe they need to look there, because we have evidence. We have evidence of drawings from this, from the Sahara area from 20,000 years ago, of people doing yoga poses and postures and yoga practices 20,000 years ago, long before any evidence of yoga being in existence in India. We have evidence of yoga practice being in existence in Africa. And in parts of Africa, we don't even associate with yoga today. Okay? So, with all of that said, the breath moves. The idea of the serpent energy, the idea of the snake that moves in a spherical way, that is the foundation of this idea of energy. It is the symbol, the icon that was used to symbolize this idea of energy. And in India, they call it the Kundalini. They call this serpent energy, or they call this idea of the serpent Kundalini. Okay? But this idea of this serpent is ubiquitous throughout ancient Egypt and throughout all parts of Africa from the beginning of time until now. Okay? This idea of serpent energy. And it's not the snake itself. The snake was only chosen to be the symbol because of certain behaviors that it had, because of the way that it moves, right, in that sort of spherical way, because energy moves as a spiral. Also, it was used because the snake is able to shed its skin. And so you have a, so it's able to renew itself by shedding its skin. So you have a conception of the snake as being a symbol for rebirth. It is being born again. This was symbolism. It is not, our ancestors didn't think that the snake itself was life force or energy. They used it as a symbol because of its behaviors and because of its attributes. And so when we start talking about Kundalini, when we start talking about, different ideas of energy and life force, this is where they come from. It is not the snake itself. Western Christianity adopted the idea of the snake as evil, okay? But in Africa, we always understood that the snake, or the symbolism behind the snake, was something that represented life force. And we also had different types of snakes in ancient Kemetic mythology, or ancient Kemetic metaphysical spiritual science. Okay, they had different symbols and different meanings also. But the main thing that we saw the snake on the forehead of the pharaoh, coming through what we would call the third eye. And so in ancient Egypt, we see two chakras, two energy centers. In yoga, people who practice yoga, they talk, they get taught that we have 7 main chakras that line up the spine, go to the middle of the forehead, go to the crown of the head. In ancient Kemet, they emphasize only 2 chakras, the crown chakra and the one in the middle of the forehead. Okay? And the chakra is simply an energy center and an energy wheel. It is a place within the body where energy is being generated and accelerated. And these so-called chakras, okay, are located at areas of the body where you have your main nerve plexuses, which are a mass of nerves that feed energy or innervate that particular area of the body. They are located at places where you have your main endocrine glands, that that secrete fluids into your bloodstream that give different commands and different, messages to your body to carry out certain functions. Okay. And so that's what you are. So that's the idea of the chakras. Different scholars and different thinkers I know, they have different names for the chakras. Some people call them the kara, kasa, and there's other names that they're sort of slipping my mind right now. But the idea of energy centers, energy wheels in the body, this is an ancient Kemetic idea. But our emphasis from an ancient Kemetic perspective is on the crown and on the middle of the forehead. And so when we breathe in, we're trying to draw that energy, which exists down here in the lower abdomen, in the lower part of the body. We're trying to draw it in as we breathe in. We trying to bring it up to the crown of the head. We try to bring it to the middle of the forehead. Okay? And on the exhalation, we try to send the energy through the arms, into the hands, down the legs, and into the feet. Okay? So this is what we are working when we are working our breath, when we are working our movements and our postures. And when we look at the images that our ancestors left us in ancient Kemet, we see the Aten, the disc at the top of the head that represents the sun. Sometimes we see various types of crowns on the head, which extend up above the head. In addition to their, to their representation or to their significance as symbols for royalty and for authority, representing their sovereignty over the 2 lands, the upper and lower Kemet, and so on and so forth. They also represented metaphysical and spiritual principles of energy, the crown chakra, the middle of the forehead. Sometimes you will see the snake and the vulture, okay, together. But they still represent this idea of the movement of energy and being manifested into the third eye. The third eye, what does that represent? That represents the pineal gland. The pineal gland is that gland that when you look at the development of the embryo, it is in the early stage of embryogenesis, right? When the embryo is first developing, you see that pineal gland is towards the outside of the middle of the forehead. As the embryo develops, the pineal gland recedes back into the middle part of the brain, okay? And it is that particular gland which has a role to play in the secretion of certain neurotransmitters, certain biochemicals that have an effect upon the consciousness, the developing consciousness of the human being, okay? And this pineal gland and the substance that it secretes is also connected with the idea of melanin, this dark matter. And because of the fact that the pineal gland recedes back all the way, it recedes from the light in the middle of the forehead in the earlier part of development, and it moves backward into the darkness, okay? And so when we do our practices, we do yoga practices, we do meditation practices, we do other forms of self-development practices using the breath in order to stimulate that pineal gland. In Kemetic Yoga, we do a technique called tongue connection. This technique is known in India, right? It's known as Kachari Mudra. But we simply use the term tongue connection because we take the tip of the tongue and we connect it to the roof of the mouth, to the hard palate. We put it in the center because there are 3 points along the hard palate where that are energy centers. And so the one that's the most powerful that connects directly to the pineal gland is where your hard palate and your soft palate connects at. Now, I'm not going to spend a lot of time describing where this is in your mouth. You got to Google some of this stuff and look it up for yourself. But think about the inside of your mouth, the roof of your mouth, and when you put your tongue to the roof of your mouth, it's hard. When you move it back further, there's a point where it becomes soft. The point where the soft and the hard connect at, that's the point that corresponds to your pineal gland. Now, it's very hard to keep the tongue there. So our compromise is to put it in the middle of the hard palate. And so we have an energy channel because when we talk about our body, the physical body is only the gross and most obvious aspect of who we are. The non-physical body is who we really are. And the physical body is a manifestation of what we can call the subtle body. The physical body is created by the subtle body. And the subtle body is the energetic aspect of us that cannot be seen on an X-ray or MRI. And so within that subtle body, we have an energy channel that flows to the front of the body and it ends at the tip of the tongue. We have an energy channel that flows to the back. It goes through the crown of the head and it ends at the roof of the mouth, at the hard palate. That's why we connect the tongue to the hard palate, because we are trying to create a circuit. And that circuit galvanizes our energy. That circuit allows us to maintain our energy. It allows us to not allow the energy to be dissipated, and it allows the energy to be strengthened and to be directed. And so tongue connection is a fundamental aspect to the practice of Kemetic Yoga. Okay, so these are all, so what I'm trying to lay out is the philosophical and the practice principles which are involved in Kemetic Yoga to differentiate it from what other people are calling Egyptian yoga or Kemetic yoga, or other forms of yoga. Not to say anything is wrong with those other ones, but we need to define what this is versus what something else is. Okay? So now we begin with our practice. The first part of our practice is working with the breath. Okay? So we breathe. We use the inhalation and the exhalation to move energy and to stimulate the parasympathetic part of the autonomic nervous system. The parasympathetic aspect of the autonomic nervous system is your relaxation response. It stimulates your body to relax. It's the opposite of the sympathetic, which is your stress response. And so when we're talking about people, especially people of African descent, Black people, people with melanated skin, we have been under tremendous stress for many centuries. And this stress, or the negative consequences of that stress, is often passed on now from generation to generation. It has become entangled into our DNA, into our genetic makeup. And so it becomes possible where it's passed on. The negative effects is passed on from one generation to the next. So it's extremely important. I would say that it is fundamentally important that we as people of African descent, or anybody else who's simply living on the earth, learn how to control their stress through learning how to control their breath. Okay? And so any yoga that does not teach you how to breathe properly is like missing a big giant chunk of what yoga is supposed to be about. Because if yoga is truly going to be about stress management, it has to put a great degree of emphasis, fundamental emphasis, on breathing and the movement of energy and the stimulation of the parasympathetic aspect of the autonomic nervous system, which in turn is going to activate your body's ability to heal itself. Okay? So when we activate the parasympathetic nervous system, the body is healing itself. The body's ability to heal and to rejuvenate and to stimulate the immune system, to activate those forces within the body that can fight against disease and so on and so forth. This is done through the, through activating the parasympathetic aspect of the autonomic nervous system. Okay? And that is done through controlled deep breathing. Okay? So we start off with what we call cleansing breath, laying on the back with the feet separated. And I'm just going to give a brief demonstration of these things, right? So if you want to do it with me, you can, but we're not going to spend a whole long session doing it. We're just going to give a demonstration. But when you come on your back, you separate your feet, shoulders width apart, and you find your navel, and you place your right palm on your lower abdomen right near your navel. You place your left hand onto the back of your right hand, and you let the back of your head relax. You let your spine relax against the mat or against the floor. And you want to use your mind to scan your body from the top of your head down to the bottom of your feet. And you're going to investigate your body. You're going to search your body, and you're going to find wherever there is any tension. And you're going to use the inhalation of your breath and then the exhalation of your breath to release the tension from your body. And so in the cleansing breath, which is our first breathing exercise, we breathe in through the nose. We hold the breath in, we open the mouth, and then we breathe out through the mouth. We close the mouth, and then we breathe in again through the nose. We hold the breath, we open the mouth, and then we breathe out. we close the mouth, and then we breathe in through the nose. On the exhalation, we open the mouth and we breathe out. Okay, so that is our first breathing technique, which is called cleansing breath. And the cleansing breath is used as a means of allowing the practitioner to learn what area of the body they should breathe from. We living in modern Western society are taught to breathe backwards. We're taught to breathe in and lift up the chest. The science of breathing says that we breathe in and we expand the abdomen. That's the first step. And for those who study to become instructors of Kemetic Yoga, we always tell them that you need to invest into a sandbag. The sandbag weighs 10 pounds. And so we use this as a tool to help us to breathe. And so we would do that same breathing exercise with the sandbag on the abdomen and the arms at the side. And so we breathe in through the nose. We hold the breath, we open the mouth, we breathe out. We breathe in through the nose. We hold the breath, we open the mouth, we breathe out. We breathe in through the nose. We hold the breath, open the mouth, and then breathe out. So the weight of the bag helps us to focus on the area of the body where we need to breathe from. The weight of this sandbag also helps to strengthen the lungs and to allow us to get a stronger respiratory system. The fact that we are breathing in the abdomen between the ribs and the pelvis, this area is called the abdominal cavity. If I was a skeleton, you will see an empty space here. This space is where your organs of digestion, elimination, assimilation, and all the processing of all the nutrients and so on and so forth within your body, the elimination of waste from your body, all of those organs are located here. So this is the power plant of your body. And as such, we need to activate this area and keep it very active. So in our practice, in the practice of any yoga, the goal is always to energize and stimulate the internal organs and all the functioning of the internal organs so that they can carry out their job, they can carry out their function. Okay? Now, once we finish cleansing breath, we go into what we call Sahoo Pose. The ancient Kemetic word, the ancient Egyptian word for mummy is Sahoo, S-A-H-U. And so when we see the mummy or the Sahoo, we're looking at a symbolic way of representing the idea of transcendent consciousness, of becoming like our Sar, where our physical body is in the physical plane, but our consciousness, our spiritual consciousness is in the heavens. our spiritual consciousness is on a higher plane of existence. So when you would see a coffin in ancient Kemetic, in the tombs of ancient Kemet, you would see that it contained the mummified remains of a person, but right next to the head on the outside of the coffin was drawn two eyes, which was a symbolic way of saying that I am able to see out into the material world from the spiritual world into which I had ascended. Okay? That's what those two eyes represent. And so when we are in the Sahoo Pose, we are not going to sleep. We are trying to continue to breathe in and to breathe out. The movement of our breath, the movement of the inhalation and the exhalation is stimulating the parasympathetic nervous system to go deeper into relaxation. It is stimulating the production of various hormones and neurotransmitters which are associated with deep relaxation, okay, and deep focus and deep concentration, so that eventually we have the experience of transcendence, where we are lying on the floor in a very deep and relaxed state, where we have released all tension from the body, but the mind is still awake and aware, but there are no thoughts of anger, worry, anxiety, depression, or any of those things within the mind. We have released those things from our consciousness. And so that's what we use the Sahoo Pose in order to do. So we go into a full relaxation, a full release and separation from the physical environment, but at the same time staying aware and awake by being aware and in control over our breathing. Okay? So in ancient Kemet, in ancient Egypt, they used the term Resut Qued. And so Resut Qued is the Madhu nature of the hieroglyphs is an eye, an open eye resting on top of a bed. Okay? So the symbol for being in this state of higher consciousness, being in this state of awareness and being in this state of transcendent consciousness is to be awake and while at the same time asleep, or to be asleep and at the same time be awake, because your body is totally relaxed, totally asleep, but at the same time your mind is awake. Okay? And that's what we are trying to achieve. And so we want to practice this on a daily basis, so that we are conditioning ourselves to maintain this state of awareness throughout our everyday existence. So we can be in the world, but not of the world. We can be in the world, but not being affected or conditioned by the external events that are happening around us that cause us to become angry or sad or depressed, and so on and so forth. Okay? And so that is why our practice is designed the way that it is designed. Okay? So then after we finish the cleansing breath and the Sahoo Pose, and we have achieved this state of calmness, this state of focus, then we proceed to go through our movements and postures, and we maintain the same state of awareness, the same state of calmness, while we go through our movements and our postures. And so we get to the point that we are in a trance-like state as we go through our movements and postures, and we are going above the autonomic nervous system. It's like we are in a flow. It's like if a person who may be familiar with running, they call it the runner's high, right? You get to this point where you don't feel your body anymore. You get to this point where everything is effortless. And so that's what we're trying to achieve in our practice of yoga. We want our movements to be flowing, to be graceful, to seem effortless as we go through them. But in order to get to that point, what do we need to do? We need to develop our bodies to the point that it becomes comfortable. And so we have to both use the breath and also use repetition of movements and postures in order to redefine the body, redefine the joints, the muscles, the ligaments, so on and so forth, so that our bodies can become comfortable in the various movements and postures that we are engaging in, okay? So the first movement or the first posture that we do is called Sesh Pose. The word sesh, S-E-S-H, means scribe. It is the ancient Kemetic word for scribe. And so the sesh or the scribe, you had a certain type of scribe. You had scribes who were responsible for the writing of the Medu Neter, the hieroglyphs. And so they wrote in three different positions. They sat in three different positions. And the reason why they sat in some of these different positions was because that these various sitting positions actually stimulated the flow and the movement of energy through the body. So most people, like myself, when I first started to practice yoga, especially men, most people, when they first sit down on the floor, they're like this, because their ankles, their knees, their hips, their lower back are all stiff, okay? And so we do our movements and postures in order to unstiffen the body, to open up the joints, to release the ankles, to release the knees, so that then we are able to sit in a meditative position comfortably without feedback from the body disturbing our ability to meditate, okay? So we do not want feedback from the body disturbing our ability to meditate. We want the body to be comfortable so that then instead of the mind thinking about, oh, my knee hurt, my ankle hurt, we want the body to be comfortable so that when we get into meditation, we can focus on the breath and we can focus on energy, okay? So this is the methodology and the reasoning behind doing movements and postures. The movements and postures also open up various degrees of blood circulation. The movements and postures also condition the various muscle groups throughout the body. The movements and postures stimulate the organs of digestion and elimination and assimilation to function better. So the lungs are going to become larger. They're going to become more efficient at the processes of respiration. The circulatory system is going to become more proficient at the movement of blood into the tissues of the body, okay? The digestive system is going to digest better. The eliminative system is going to eliminate better. The assimilative system, the system that assimilates nutrients into the body, is going to become more efficient, okay? And so that's why we do movements and postures. When the body is when the body is stationary or sedentary, we get stagnation. So the fluids and all the different, aspects of the body that are supposed to be moving and circulating and being active. If those things become stagnated, if the life force and energy that moves through the energy channels of the body becomes stagnated, that's how we become. That's where we get ill health from. That is where we get what we call premature rigor mortis. That was the term my teacher, Dr. Yirser Ra Hotep, told me, or used to say. He used to use the term premature rigor mortis for a person that was already becoming stiff and locked up while they were still alive. Okay? And so that's what we're trying to avoid. And so that is part of the science of why we do movements and postures. So our first posture is called Sesh Pose, Variation 1. In this posture, we are attempting to keep the ankles, the knees, the hips, the spine, the shoulders open, and also the neck. So we begin by holding on to the front leg, and we pull against the front leg, and we sit all the way up onto the ischiotubers. The ischiotubers are your pelvic bones, your hip bones. Those are the bones that you sit on. In yoga, they are often called the sit bones, right? You hold on to your front leg, your shin bone here. You hold on and you hold on tight, and you pull and you press your forearms down into your thighs. You stabilize your spine, and then we move the neck independently to open up the throat, the organs and glands in the throat. So with the tip of the tongue connected to the roof of the mouth, we breathe in and we tilt the head halfway back. And with the exhalation, we release the neck and we allow the head to go back all the way. And with the inhalation, we bring the head up straight. And with the exhalation, we lower the head down and we touch the chin to the chest. As we breathe in, and we bring the head up straight. With the exhalation, we turn the head towards the left. With the inhalation, we bring the chin over the chest. With the exhalation, we turn the head to the right. And then we turn the head back to the center. We take the right hand, we place it underneath the left knee. We place the left hand in the back of the right hand. We breathe in and we lift the chest. And then as we exhale, we try to lower the chest towards the thigh and the chin towards the knee. We take the arms and we wrap them around the leg. And we try to squeeze everything tight together. And as we hold this position, we relax the ankles, we relax the knees, we relax the hips, the lower back, the neck, and the shoulders. We breathe in, let the abdomen expand. We breathe out, we let the abdomen contract. The expansion of the abdomen with the inhalation and the contraction with the exhalation is massaging your internal organs. And then we breathe in and we rise up and we turn to the right. And as we exhale, we place the hands underneath the right knee. And with the inhalation, we lift the chest, we flatten the back. And with the exhalation, we lower the chest towards the thigh. We wrap the arms around the leg. We breathe in. We slowly breathe out. Let go of the leg and breathe in and rise up. We bring the arms up to shoulders height. And with the exhalation, we bring the hands around the knees from behind. With the inhalation, we lift the chest, we flatten the back. And with the exhalation, we bend from the waist. We lower the head down, we bring the chin towards the chest. We breathe in and extend the arms forward. And we exhale the hands down towards the mat. We breathe in and we exhale. We inhale and we rise up. We put the thumb and the forefingers together and we exhale, releasing the shoulders, allowing the arms to float down until the wrists come down to the knees. And then breathe in and slowly breathe out. Breathe in and slowly breathe out. Okay? Now from here, we begin a systematic exploration of the body, examining each area of the body, locating where there may be stiffness, where there may be resistance, and then we work on changing that stiffness, that resistance, or even a malformity in the body, or misalignment in the skeletal system, and to correct them. Okay? And so we go into this position, which we call Sesh Pose Variation 2. So in Sesh Pose Variation 2, the thighs are together, we bend the toes, and we keep the feet together, and we bend at the toes until we're able to get the buttocks to the heels, and the hands resting upon the thighs. Now, of course, everybody's body is different. So you have to gradually, over time, continue to practice this until your body changes. One of the yoga skills that you need to acquire is patience and faith. You have to have faith in yourself that your body will change if you eat properly and if you practice on a regular basis. So if you feel discomfort, if you feel stiffness where your knees won't bend and your buttocks are not able to get down to your heels, you need to adjust your diet and you need to practice. When I say adjust your diet, you may need to eat less. You may need to lose some weight. You may need to go on a cleanse, okay? But you must always practice on a regular basis and not give up. So you have to believe in yourself. You have to create an image in your mind of how you want to be, what you want to achieve, and then work towards that goal to change your body. Because just like Isaiah Thomas, right, the basketball player, he said to his critics that I wasn't born dribbling a basketball. His ability as a basketball player was developed from his practice. He wasn't just naturally born dribbling a basketball. You are not just naturally born practicing yoga. This is something that you have to work at and develop yourself to do. But you can do it if you believe in yourself. So this is called Sesh Pose Variation 2. When we're sitting in this position, we are stimulating reflexology points in the bottom of the feet. If you don't know the term reflexology, look it up. Reflex, reflexology, reflexology. And you will find that you have different places in the bottom of your feet and also in your palms of your hands that correspond to different organs and systems within your body. And when we sit on the toes in this manner, you know, this is something that we understand in Kemetic Yoga, that we understand the yoga skills method of Kemetic Yoga. But when you sit in this position, you are stimulating the glands and organs in your body that begin at the throat and end at the top of the head. So we work in the brain, the eyes, the sinuses, the ears, you know, the throat. so on and so forth. All of those different organs and areas of the body are being stimulated when we sit in this position. So from here, and so this is a fundamental. When you go to ancient Kemet, when you look at the artifacts and the images from ancient Egypt, you see that people sitting in this position is ubiquitous. They are everywhere. Yoga is represented everywhere in Egypt that you go. Every place you look, you're gonna find somebody. I'm talking about in the artifacts. You're gonna find images of somebody sitting in this position. So with the inhalation, we raise the arms, and with the exhalation, we come into the hands and knees, and we lift the feet, and then we wiggle the toes. And then we point the feet, and we place the insteps down. We place the hands next to the legs, and we breathe in, and as we exhale, we sit down onto the heels. And now we're lengthening the knee, the shin muscle, and the top of the foot on the instep, in opposite direction. We place the hands into pyramid, and we move the hands onto the floor. We breathe in, we lift the chest, and as we exhale, we bring the chest to the thighs, and we bring the forehead into the pyramid. And so the pyramid is called MER, M-E-R. Chest to the thighs, forehead into the pyramid. So we call this MER, Mesu Heru. Mesu Heru means the sons of Heru. We use that to represent the child pose, the idea of the child pose. When we come out of this position, we come up onto our hands and knees, and then we begin to work deeper into the various muscle groups, into the various areas of the body. So this is a logical progression that we engage in Kemetic Yoga. So we take the right foot and we move it forward because we're going to work the left side of the body first. So now we work the toes, we work the ankles, we work the knees. Now we're going to work into the thigh. We're going to work into the hip. We're going to work into the lower back, right? So from here, we bend the toes and we go into lunge position. We breathe in, we exhale, we place the left knee down. We point the left foot, we place the instep down. We place the arms underneath the right thigh. And with the inhalation, we rise up. And with the exhalation, we bring the hands together. With the inhalation, we put the left hand behind the right. And as we exhale, we bring the hands down to the right knee. And then breathe in and we exhale. And notice that we're going deeper now into the thigh, into the hip joint. And we're directing it straight down into the earth, maintaining the geometry of the body. Now we're going to go deeper into the lower back. We're going to go deeper into the spine. We're going to open up the chest. We're going to release the neck and release the shoulders. We're going to work deeper into the psoas muscles. Psoas muscles is spelled P-S-O-A-S. Google it, learn what it means, what it represents, why it's important. But this goes deeper into that deep muscle within the body. So we breathe in and we lift the chest, we exhale, release back. And then we bring the head up, we bring the chest down, we separate the hands, and we ease the hands down. Then we're going to repeat the same position on the opposite side. Because what we're doing, we're preparing the body to go into our flow sequences. But before we can flow, we got to get each area of the body open, warmed up, and conditioned. So next we go with the left foot forward and the right leg back. We bend the toes of the right foot and we lift the right knee. We want the toes to bend at a 90-degree angle on that back foot. We lower the hips, we bring the chest up, and we look forward. And then from here, we breathe in. And as we exhale, we place the right knee down. We point the right foot, we place the instep down, and we place the arms underneath the left thigh. And as we breathe in, we're rising up. As we exhale, we bring hands together. We inhale the left hand behind the right. We exhale and lower the hands down to the left knee. We breathe in, and as we exhale, we go deeper into that thigh, deeper into the hip, going deeper. And then we breathe in, we lift the chest, and we exhale. Arch the spine back, open up the chest, open up the throat, releasing the muscles in the back of the neck. And then the head comes up. We exhale the chest down, and we lower the hands down next to the body. And then from here, we fold the toes of the right foot, and we lift the right knee up. And we take the left leg, and we push it back. Okay? And then adjust your feet. We go into mare position, pyramid. We breathe in, and we bend the arms, and we dip down. We inhale up, and we exhale and arch the spine. So now we're developing our strength, our balance, our coordination. We fold the toes underneath the feet, and we lift, and we breathe in, and we push up. And then we adjust the feet, left foot forward, right foot forward, and we exhale, we place the heels down to the floor. We press backwards. On the inhalation, we rise up to the bottom of the feet. We exhale the knees down, and we lift the feet, we point the toes, and we place the insteps down. We place the right hand in front of the right knee, the left hand in front of the left knee. We sit down into this position. We call this the chia position. And then we take the right forearm and then the left forearm, and we go into the Sphinx position. And remember, what do we call Sphinx? Heru Im-Akit. It's not higher self versus the lower self, or human self versus the animal self. It is Heru Im-Akit. Looking to the east at the constellation of Leo rising on the horizon. Now from here, we extend the hands forward. We lift the elbows. We put the face close to the mat. We breathe in. And as we exhale, we transfer the weight from the knees into the hands. We inhale and we lift up. And we exhale and we arch the spine. We fold the toes underneath the feet. We breathe in and we lift the knees. We lift the hips. We adjust the feet. We exhale and we place the heels down. We inhale and rise up. We exhale the knees down. Lift the feet, point the toes, and breathe in. And then exhale, easing back into Mesu Heru, easing into the child pose. Okay? Now, that is our basic preparation or entry level sun salutation. Okay? So we're going to go through that again. From the hands and knees, the right foot comes to the front. We bend the toes of the left foot and we lift the left knee. Lower the hips, bend the chest up. We breathe in and we exhale the left knee down. Point, arms underneath. Inhale and rise. Exhale, hands together. Inhale, left hand behind the right. Exhale, the hands down to the right knee. And then breathe in. And with the exhalation, lengthen in the left thigh and the left hip. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, arch the spine. Let the head come up. Let the chest come down. Bring the hands down next to the body. This time, we go a little bit stronger. We come up to here, and we inhale this right leg up. We exhale it down. We breathe in. We exhale and down and forward. Inhale up. Exhale back. Fold the toes underneath and lift. And breathe in and push up. Adjust the feet. Exhale and press back. Breathe in and come up. Exhale the knees down. Lift the feet, point the toes. Place the right palm in front of the right knee. The left palm in front of the left knee. We sit down onto the heels. We bring the chest up. We bend forward. We place the right forearm down. We place the left forearm down. We breathe in and we breathe out. Extend the arms and breathe in. Lift the elbows. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Fold the toes. Lift the knees. Inhale up. Adjust the feet. Exhale and press down. Inhale up to the balls of the feet. Slowly exhale your knees down. Lift your feet and point your toes and breathe in. Exhale back into Mesu Heru. Come up onto your hands and knees. Take your left foot, bring it to the front. Bend the toes of your right foot and lift your right knee, lower your hips. Breathe in. As you exhale, lower the right knee down. Point. Arms underneath. Inhale and come up. Exhale and bring hands together. Inhale, left hand behind the right. Exhale the hands down and breathe in. Exhale and lower the hip. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, arch the spine. Let your head come up. Exhale your chest down. Separate your hands. Ease them down. Left leg goes back. Breathe in. Exhale into Mesu Heru. Now breathe in and breathe out. Come up onto your hands and knees and bring your legs out in front. Your legs out in front of you. Flex your feet towards you. Contract your leg muscles. So what you want to be able to do is to put your arms together like this and lift one leg up. Working those thigh muscles, right? You got to build up those muscles. Be able to get your leg to come up. Flex your feet towards you. Put your arms to the side of your body and rotate. Rotate your arms from the shoulders. Breathe in and lift your arms up. Exhale, put your hands together. Inhale, turn your palms forward. Now you can bend your knees a little bit, but I want you to exhale. Reach for your feet. Put your hands over the top of your feet. And breathe in and breathe out. And breathe in and breathe out. Release it. Inhale up. And then exhale, the hands down to the knees. And then breathe in and slowly breathe out. Now bend your knees just a little bit. Keep your legs together. Keep your feet together. Put your hands underneath your knees and sit up onto your sit bones. Hands come down towards the ankles. Put the left hand in the back of the left leg, the right hand in the back of the right leg. Inhale and lift your chest. And as you exhale, lay your chest towards your thighs and your chin towards your knees. And breathe in and slowly breathe out. And breathe in and slowly breathe out. Now let go of your leg, extend your arms. Inhale up, legs down. Exhale the hands down. And breathe in and breathe out. Take your right hand, grab hold of your right ankle, and pull your right foot to the inside of your left leg. Right foot all the way in. Relax your right hip, your right knee, your right ankle. Your left leg is flexing, your left foot is flexing towards you. So you should be able to lift that leg up. Get those thighs strong. On the inhalation, your arms rise to shoulders height. On your exhalation, reach for the heel of your foot. Keep breathing. Inhale. Exhale further. Exhale deeper. Breathe in. Exhale. Inhale up. Exhale your hands down to your left knee. Okay? Now I'm going through this a little bit faster. I'm not spending time going through the movements multiple times. But this is just to give you a taste of how Yoga Skills Method and how Kemetic Yoga operates. Now with your inhalation, your arms rise to shoulders height. With your exhalation, try to grab around the bottom of your foot. Try to get your hands around the heel of your foot if you can. Breathe in and slowly breathe out. Breathe in and come up. Exhale your hands down to your knee. And then your left leg comes down. Okay? You're going to bend your knees, come into your back. Put your arms next to your body. Take your right thigh, bring it up to your chest. Put your hands around your right leg and pull your thighs in towards your chest. Breathe in, exhale your chin to your knee. Inhale, exhale your left leg straight. Keep your left foot about 6 inches off the mat. Put your chin to your knee. Then let your head come down. Bend your left knee, put your left foot down. Put your right foot next to your left foot. Lift your left thigh up towards your chest. Put your hands around your leg as you inhale. And as you exhale, pull the thigh in towards your chest. Breathe in. Exhale your chin to your knee. Inhale. Exhale and straighten your right leg. Keep your right foot about 3 inches off the mat. Lower the back of your head to the mat. Bend your right knee and put your right foot to the mat. And then lower your left leg next to your right leg. And then bring both of your thighs up towards your chest. Pull your thighs in. Wrap your arms around your legs and squeeze together with your chin up towards your knees. Let the back of the head come down. Slide your hands down towards your ankles. Separate your feet. And then breathe in and tuck your hips. Exhale, squeeze your shoulder blades together. Come into your spider position, your backward bending position. Breathe in. Exhale and tuck your hips. And then lower your legs down. Flex your feet towards you. Arms next to your body. Bring your chin to your chest. Elevate your hands above your thighs. Exhale. Inhale yourself up. Arms, shoulders height. Exhale your hands down to your knees. Okay? So, in our next sequence, we're going to work on sun salutation. Not sun salutation, but spinal twist. So, the left knee goes here. Left hand is around the knee. Right hand is around your ankle. And you pull in. Right leg is flexing. Inhale your right arm. Reach for your right foot. Wrap the right arm around your left leg. Grab your thigh. Put your left hand behind you. Breathe in. Exhale and turn your head and look towards your right shoulder. Inhale, bring your chin over your chest. Exhale, look towards your left shoulder. Lift your left hand, release your right arm. Inhale, turn to the front. Exhale, hands down to the knees. Bring the right knee up. Right hand around your right hand around your knee. Left hand around your ankle. Pull your leg in. Sit up into your sit bones. Inhale the left arm. Exhale, reaching for your left foot. Wrapping your arm, left arm around your right leg. Turn out to your right. Put your right hand to the floor. Now breathe in. Exhale to turn the head to the left. Inhale your chin to the chest. Exhale, looking to the right. Lift the right arm. Release the left arm. Inhale to the front. And then exhale, the hands down and the knees down. Now breathe in and then breathe out. Okay? And so that's a basic spinal twisting position. So notice that we went from forward bend to to backward bend, right? And then from backward bend, we went to twisting motion of the spine. Lateral positions, okay? So that's the way that we sequence our postures. And so what I want you to understand is that we went from the toes into the knees, into the hips, into the spine, into the neck. And we worked systematically through the body. We worked on strengthening the arms, the chest, the back, the shoulders. Okay, this is part of our yoga skills method of Kemetic Yoga. Okay, now most of the postures that we've been doing so far, they are postures that you can find in any type of yoga. That you also know, you should also note that basic common yoga practices, such as a back bend and so on and so forth, were very common in ancient Kemet. So yoga itself, I think, is universal. I think all human beings, no matter where they come from, they do some type of yoga, they do some type of movements, they do some type of postures, they do some type of meditations, they do something for a transcendent consciousness. People get confused because they say, well, the word yoga comes from India, and so only people in India do yoga. But yoga, or the practices of developing transcendent consciousness, doing movements and postures, these are universal things that all humans do. It's not relegated to one particular culture or another. Now, there are certain uniquely ancient Kemetic movements and postures that are done that are not known by other cultures throughout the world. Okay? And so one that we see in the ancient Kemetic, in the ancient Egyptian system is what we call sorry, what we call the pose of men. And with the pose of men, we start off with the feet together, the arms at the side, the right palm is in front of the chest, the left hand is on the back of the right hand, and we breathe in, and as we exhale, we turn to the left, we breathe in, we exhale the left arm straight back, right palm to the chest. We breathe in, and we exhale, and we bend the left arm, we inhale, and as we exhale, we turn the head to the right. As we breathe in, we turn the head to the center. And as we exhale, we turn the head and we look to the left. Then we turn the head back to the center and we breathe in, we turn the body back to the front. And we exhale the left hand behind the right. Okay? Same thing on the other side. We breathe in, we exhale, turning to the left, turning to the right rather. So we turn from the lower back, the middle back, and then the upper back. Once we get the spine twisted, we breathe in and we exhale the right arm back, the left palm to the chest. We breathe in and we exhale and we bend the right arm. We breathe in, we exhale, and we turn the head to the left. We inhale the head to the center. We exhale, we turn the head to the right. And then we turn the head and we inhale the body back to the front. So we come back to this position. We move the left hand. The right hand comes in front of the chest. And then we change into Pose of Selket. So the arms go up, we breathe in. And as we exhale, we open up the arms. And the arms are in the position of the Pose of Selket. And we breathe in and we breathe out. And then we lower the arms down next to the body and we empty the weight into the bottom of the feet. Okay? Now, that's called Pose of Men. So what I'm going to do, I don't want to go into a long workout. I just want to show you some basic postures that we call uniquely ancient kinetic. So we also have a position called, we have a sequence of movements called Ma'at Ka. So I'm just going to do a couple. So with Ma'at Ka, we stand here and we take the left leg, we lift it up, we extend it out, we put the heel to the floor, then we adjust the feet, right? And so this is a basic standing position. This is a pharaonic standing position that we see many of the pharaohs standing in, that we see many of the the Neteru standing in, the different divine entities standing in this position. And so then we go from that to here, we exhale, we inhale, we exhale, we breathe in, we exhale to the side, we turn the palms, we breathe in, we exhale into Ka position. So this movement represents Ka. Ka means spirit. Then we turn the head to the left, head to the center, we exhale the head to the right, opening up the vertebra of the neck in both directions. We breathe in, and then we breathe out, and we compress the energy between the palms, okay? And then that position is called Ka. Ka is spelled K-A. Ka means spirit. Do the same thing on the opposite side. So, feet together. We call this Kinetic Fist. We inhale the right leg. We exhale and extend. Place the heel to the ground. Adjust the feet, find your balance with the right foot extended. So whatever we do on the left side, we got to do the same thing on the right side. We open up the hands, we rotate, we breathe in, we breathe out, we inhale, we tilt the head back, we exhale the head back, we inhale the head up, let the back of the hands come together, and exhale, breathe in, exhale to the left, turn the palms to the left, breathe in, exhale and bend the arms, inhale, exhale and turn the head to the right, inhale, turn the head to the center, exhale, look to the left, bring the head back to the center, inhale the body to the front, and then with the exhalation, the palms come together in front of the chest, and lower the arms, bring the feet back together, okay? So that's just one posture we call Ka. Ka means spirit. We're going to end with the Pose of Immortality. So the Pose of Immortality is our classic ancient Kemetic yoga posture. This is the posture that is on a chair that was found in the tomb of the pharaoh named Tutankhamun in 1921. Okay, so in 1921, a kind of grave robber named Howard Carter, who was working for another man who they called Lord Carnarvon, he was searching for any tomb in ancient Egypt in a place called the Valley of the Kings. He was searching for a tomb that was still intact, because most of the tombs had already been entered and mostly robbed or had all of the wealth taken from them. And so he found this tomb by accident that belonged to the pharaoh whose name was Tutankhamun. So they commonly called him King Tut, but his name is Tutankhamun, means that Amun gives life. And in this tomb was a chair, and on the back of that chair was a yoga posture with an ancient Kemetic figure who we call He, H-E-H, okay? And so He represents this idea of eternity. And so we called it the Pose of Immortality because of this sense of eternity that's associated with that particular image. And so it was found in 1921. In 1975, the exhibit of the artifacts from that tomb came to Chicago, to the Museum of Natural History, the Field Museum of Natural History. And that's where we saw it. And we said, that is yoga. And we started to practice, we started to translate the symbols, interpret the symbols for their yogic meaning, and figured out how to go into and come out of that posture. And so we called that posture the Pose of Immortality. But the person who's sitting in that position, or the figure who's sitting in that position, is called He, H-E-H. And he's very similar to Shu, S-H-U. But he represents this etheric energy. He represents the idea of eternity. That's why we call it the Pose of Immortality. Okay? So we believe that language and culture and practices are dynamic, and that we have to apply our ancient knowledge to our present circumstances, right? And so we can take what we have learned from the limited amount of information that's available to us from the ancient past, and we can apply it to work for us in the now, today. So we say that our culture is dynamic, and we can take those fundamental principles and we can build and expand upon them in the present time to meet our present, the demands of our present life. Okay? So Pose of Immortality. And so we start off with the feet together, the toes touching, the heels slightly separated, and the knees bent, the pelvis tucked. This is what we call our preparation stance. We breathe in, and as we exhale, we bring the hands together. As we inhale, we bring the arms up, the palms come together, and then with the exhalation, we place the palms in front of the chest and we shift the weight to the right foot. With the inhalation, the left knee goes up, we point the left foot down. We exhale and we extend the left foot back. We place the top of the foot, we place the top of the left foot towards the floor, and when we exhale, we tuck the hips. Now we breathe in, and so now we're able to go down as we exhale into a straight position with the left buttocks on the left heel. As we inhale, the right arm comes to the inside of the right knee, and we turn out to the left. We bring the fingertips together, and then we breathe in. And then we exhale, make fists. We breathe in, we exhale, and we turn the head to the right. We inhale and turn the head to the center. We exhale, look to the left. And as we breathe in, we bring the left fist to the right fist. As we exhale, we open up the arms, bring the palms together. And as we breathe in, we bring power to the legs to rise up. And then we extend the left foot back, come up to the inside of the left toe. And we exhale and we transition to the center. And then we breathe in and we exhale to the left. Put the weight into the left foot. Place the top of the right foot to the mat. Tuck the hips. And then breathe in. And then we ease down. Repeating the position in the opposite direction. And we inhale the left arm to the inside of the left knee. And we exhale. And we turn out to the right. We bring the fingertips together. We inhale, we open up the arms. We exhale into Pose of Immortality. We breathe in. We exhale the head to the left. We inhale. We exhale to the right. And then we inhale and we bring the right fist to the left fist. And then we exhale the palms together. And we breathe in. And we lift up. And we exhale and we sink the weight into the left foot. And we inhale the right knee up. We exhale the right foot down. And then breathe in. And with the exhalation, the hands come down. And the arms come out to the side. And then breathe in. And slowly breathe out. Breathe in. And slowly breathe out. Okay? So in terms of the movements and the postures, that was what I would call a brief demonstration of how the movements and the postures are supposed to go. This is my first time. I think I put this onto YouTube live. So I've never done that before, and I know it's seems like there's a lot of people watching and making comments and stuff, right? So thank you all, and take care, and Hotep.